Good afternoon, everyone. The first day of Capitol Hill Ocean Week 2016 is underway. Thanks for tuning in on oceanslive.org. Don't forget to be part of our conversation and tweet us questions at #CHOW2016 or chat us at oceanslive.org. Many of us have fond childhood memories of weekends at the beach or afternoons in the woods, but many kids have never had the opportunity to visit a national park or a national marine sanctuary. In 2005, Richard Louv published Last Child in the Woods, Saving Our Children from Nature Deficit Disorder, launching environmental literacy, a conversation about creating the No Environmental Literacy and creating the No Child Left Inside movement. A decade later, in 2015, President Obama announced the Every Kid in a Park initiative, which seeks to experience our children across the country to experience our nation's most special outdoor places. By connecting young people to nature, we foster a healthier, more environmentally engaged generation. In the studio, I'm excited to be joined by Heidi Mcallister, the Assistant Director of Conservation Education for the United States Forest Service. Heidi was one of the original architects of the Every Kid in a Park program, which seeks to develop the next generation of informed, passionate environmental stewards. We're also joined today by my Sanctuaries colleague, John Armour, the Acting Director of NOAA's Office of Nations Special Sanctuaries, which protects our nation's special marine areas. We'll talk to John later about how programs like Every Kid in a Park can help kids engage with the ocean and the outdoors. Also joining us in the studio today, co-founder Jackie Ostfeld, the co-founder and chair of the Outdoor Alliance for Kids and the director of the Sierra Club's Nearby Nature initiative. We'll talk with Jackie about how the Outdoors Alliance for Kids works to connect children, youth, and families with the outdoors. Thanks, everybody, for joining me today in the studio. Really excited to talk about this very, very important topic. So I would like to start us all out with, one of those icebreaker questions to break the nerves, all those good things. But, all of us have an amazing outdoor memory, at least I do. So I want to kind of start us with that. Can you tell us a little bit about your most favorite outdoor memory, Heidi?
Sure. I grew up in Colorado, and we spent all of our summers outside camping and running around and getting dirty. Memories is one of my favorite memories is going camping, and one of my family's favorite campsites had the Elk River running through it. And there were 4 kids in my family, and we used to spend every river. We would trying to dam that river. We would collect rocks and set them across the river, and we would make it almost all the way. But every single summer, the river won.
Well, you know how beavers feel then, right?
Yes.
It just keeps going. But
yes.
John, what was your favorite outdoor activity?
So for me, without a doubt, it was going to the beach with my family. I grew up in Rhode Island on the shore, and I just have great memories of spending time at the beach with my family, my sisters, my cousins, and that's where I learned to swim and learned to snorkel and scuba dive and kayak, and just getting out and spending time in ocean. I just remember always being so anxious for summer to come around and the water to be warm enough to get inside. So yeah, without a doubt, it was spending time at the beach.
The beach.
Yep.
Jackie.
So I'll share a more recent memory. I am a new mom, and I just spent last week with my son for his 1-year-old birthday, his first birthday, at the beach, and it was freezing, and I was hesitant whether or not I should dip his toes in the ocean. Get cold, and want him to get cold and never want to come back again, but I did it. I just dipped him in, and he started laughing and screaming with just like pure joy, and so we ended up playing in the shallow water of the ocean for a good 20 or 30 minutes, and it was much fonder than any of my own childhood memories. Love sharing nature with kids.
Nice. Well, for me, I'm from Michigan in the Sweetwater Seas, the Great Lakes. But my favorite memory is we have a cabin in northern Wisconsin, and my mother loved to take us for walks out in the woods and then down to the lake. But it wasn't particularly the memory, it was the actual sensation of the senses that I got, because she'd always break open the spearmint leaves or show us the oak leaves and the round of the white versus the red of the pointed of the red oaks. And I just remember all of those things, the touching, the feeling, the tasting, the smelling. And that's about it. Take this day, goosebumps thinking about it, taking those trips and those interpretive walks with my mother in the woods, and that she still today does it with my children. And so that's my favorite memory of it. So why is it so important for kids to have these memories? Like, earlier today we were talking about diversity and recreation and parks, and then, last talking about how I had a doctor on who was talking about how he prescribes nature for people because it just gives people more collection of oneself. It's less stress. It really brings people the concentration they need to move on in their day sometimes, even just 10 to 15 minutes outside, getting out in the outdoors. So why is it so important, for us to do this? I mean, why did President Obama say, you know what, we need to get kids in the park? Tell us a little bit about the initiative and why it started.
Well, as you said, President Obama announced the initiative in 2015. Every idea of getting every child, every kid outdoors, because we've just mentioned all of the memories that we have and the experiences that we have had, but now 80% of Americans live in urban areas. So it's a lot more complicated than just opening the door and kicking the kids out and saying, come back when it's dark, which is how many of us grew up. So now we are making a concerted effort to get kids outside. And one of the ways of doing that is to offer fourth graders a free pass for entry into our federal lands and waters. And that is one of the reasons to get them out, to give them the opportunity. One of the things that we're doing is partnering with businesses and with private organizations to offer transportation grants, because a lot of times it's difficult for teachers now to come up with money for field trips just to pay for the transportation costs. So that's one of the things that the initiative is trying to do, offer our waters, visits to our federal lands and waters to every child in America.
Well, every child. My son happens to be a fool. I found out, and through his school, I found out about this initiative, even though I already knew about the initiative. But I actually got the letter as a parent to say, hey, here's how you go on the website. Here's how you download your free ticket, basically, for not only the fourth grader, but also 3 adults, correct?
Exactly,
yeah.
Exactly. The fourth grader can invite their family members with them.
Yeah. And so why fourth graders? Like, why is that age so special to choose for this initiative?
One reason is it's a little bit easier to work with fourth grade classrooms because they're usually still one teacher classrooms. By the time they get into fifth grade and older, there are lots of different teachers that are working with them, so it's a lot easier to work with just one classroom and one teacher. A lot of it too is that fourth graders are interested in things and take information in a given way, and they home and share. We're hoping that they will take that home and share that with their families and bring their families, as with the past, they can take their families with them and share that information.
Right. Well, I think there are, 4 million some fourth graders across the country. So that's kind of difficult to tell everybody. I mean, through the schools is an easy way, but how else, John, can we get the word out for every kid in a park? What are some of the ways that the different agencies have done that?
Well, I mean, all kinds of different ways. I mean, there's been the social media, Instagram and Facebook and all the different platforms used to get out the word. But I think, for me, personally, I think the biggest thing is really just word of mouth. And as Heidi mentioned, working with the teachers and, other elements of sort of the educational system to encourage participation, a fantastic program, because it really is a fantastic program. But, just having admission to the park isn't enough. Heidi mentioned the transportation grants. And the National Marine Sanctuary Foundation also sponsored Hollings grants this year as well. So there are multiple ways to try to encourage and incentivize this program, because participation in this program, because it really is important. But it isn't just about admission, right? National Marine Sanctuaries are free all the time, and most National Estuarine Research Reserves are also free most of the time. And so it really isn't, it's about getting them there and about making sure that they're aware of the programs and so that they participate.
One of the agencies, so NOAA, one of the agencies that you when you look at the list of all the agencies that are a part of every kid in a park, you kind of go, well, I mean, NOAA is kind of a strange agency to be in there, but we have these sanctuaries across the country, 14 of them, and then we have these National Estuarine Research Reserves that are also, visitable, I guess you could say. But what does every kid in a park mean for NOAA? I mean, because you kind of got to scratch your head at first and go, what's NOAA got to do with this? But how are we answering the call?
Different ways. I mean, so in a number of different ways. I mean, first and foremost, though, I mean, NOAA's participation in every kid in a park, at least for me, is really pretty important, because what it does is it reminds people that your opportunities for recreation and engaging in nature don't end at the shoreline. That, beyond that, whether you're surfing, you're sailing, all the things that I did as a kid, that those opportunities are out there, and there are these places that are protected and they're managed and they're special, and we want people to get out and enjoy them because we want them to love them. And you're not going to love what you don't know, and you're not going to take action to protect things that you haven't had experience. And so, so for NOAA, for NOAA and the places, the special places that we manage, this is critical. We have to be part of initiatives like other initiatives like it.
Yeah. So specifically for sanctuaries, like I'll just bring out Oakland, California. So Greater Farallones National Marine Sanctuary is right there off the coast of San Francisco, as well as national parks are right there and forests are right there as well. What is National Marine Sanctuaries doing for those kids that might never have even gone to the ocean and they're from Oakland?
That's right.
So what are some of the things that we're doing specifically?
Well, that's a great example too, because not just in Oakland, but in other parts of the National Marine Sanctuary system, and I'm sure the parks and national forest experience this as well, where you have kids that grew up just miles, maybe just a couple of miles from a National Marine Sanctuary, but never get the opportunity to actually get into it and experience it. Some of them don't even realize it's there. And so, it's incumbent upon us to do our jobs and make sure make sure we work with, educators and teachers to make sure they're understanding what these opportunities are to get kids out and experience the wonders that are there and that they may not have even known about.
Right.
I have to mention that I just took my young son this scuba diving to scuba diving off the shore, and it was an amazing experience for us. It was something he had never done before, and he put on the mask and the gear and took that step off the back of the boat and was gone. Yeah, and I couldn't keep up with him. I mean, he had his own scuba instructor going after him. Thank goodness, because I certainly couldn't keep up with him. And it meant the world to him. It meant the world to him, and that's why I think it's important for all of us to have parks and forests and marine sanctuaries involved in this, because they're all experiences that help us understand it and care for it.
Yeah, right.
The other thing I would add, kind of related to what Heidi just said, is, the Every Kid in a Park initiative has also shown opportunity to show that there are different jurisdictions, and there's national parks, national wildlife refuges, national forests, national marine sanctuaries. There are all these different types of protected area programs that were created for different reasons. But this initiative has really been an opportunity to show that we have a lot more in common in terms of our ultimate goal, and then there are differences. And so I love being parts of these kinds of initiatives, getting to work with people like Heidi and Jackie as well, to really reinforce that notion.
Right.
Yeah.
So John, say if you don't like to swim, or you don't, recreate on the water, or heaven forbid, scuba dive, how can people still visit a sanctuary? I would say the biggest thing is, and we recognize that a lot of national marine sanctuaries in particular, I think this is true with national forests and national parks as well, are very remote. Like Papahanaumokuakea Marine National Monument in the northwestern Hawaiian Islands, most people will never have the opportunity to go there. So it's our job to bring the place to the people. And so we do that in a number of different ways. First, like the force in Park Service, we have visitor centers in Santa Cruz areas. So we have, like in Santa Cruz, California, for example, we have the Sanctuary Exploration Center that brings the remote Monterey Canyon to a very accessible, experience it there, people that can experience it there and can touch it and learn about it and those kinds of things. The other way we do it is through partnerships. And Jackie knows the partnerships are really critical to getting the word out. So we work with zoos and aquariums and other educational institutions where we have opportunity to share programming and to share expertise and to, really, again, to do our job of bringing the place to the people. Right. So, well, Jackie just mentioned partnerships. That's what Oak's all about. And, Every Kid in a Park is a powerful initiative, but it's not the only one that's been going on and bringing kids to these special outdoor places. So you're the co-chair of the Outdoors Alliance for Kids, or OAK. Can you tell us a little bit about that program and what it does?
Sure, happy to. So the Outdoors Alliance for Kids, or OAK, is a national strategic partnership of businesses and nonprofit organizations advocating to get kids and families connected with the outdoors. We recognize that not all kids start on equal footing as far as opportunities to get outside, and so we are working together for advocate for, educate decision makers and leaders at all levels to advance major change efforts like Every Kid in a Park. And so I work for the Sierra Club. I started there about 8 years, and I recognized a national youth advocate, and I recognized that there were a handful of other groups doing this kind of work, and we weren't really coordinating. We weren't really talking to each other. And so in 2010, a group of us, REI, the YMCA, Sierra Club, the Children in Nature Network, National Recreation and Park Association, Walton League, and several other groups got together in a room to see if could we be more effective, could we get more done if we worked together. And so we tested out our theory. We called on the First Lady to establish the Let's Move Outside initiative to use the outdoors as a crisis and solve the childhood obesity crisis. And we won. We got the initiative, and it was a really early success. It made us realize that we were stronger together and that we were a needed voice, a national voice, to be doing this work. So fast forward 4 or 5 years, we are now 85 organizations. We have health groups like American Heart Association, youth serving groups like the Boys and Girls Clubs and Girl Scouts and the Y, conservation groups like the Sierra Club and the Wilderness Society, all working together. The outdoor industry, I mentioned REI, the North Face Outdoor Industry Association, all working together on a collective agenda to really get rid of this equity, close this equity gap in the outdoors. And so we do that by educating decision makers. We do that by working with our partners in the federal government we have a partnership with NOAA and several other, and Forest Service and the Federal Recreation Council to put together plans to get kids outdoors. We provide a network for our members to connect with each other and collaborate on initiatives to get kids outdoors. And we also, at times, enlist our members to help with major initiatives like the Every Kid in a Park program.
Great. So this isn't something that we want to just do for 1 year, I'm guessing, right, Heidi?
No, definitely. And we are now starting into our second year, as a matter of fact. And one of the things that we want to do is there are 4 million fourth graders here in this country, and we want to currently, and if you, after 12 years of doing this program, we should be able to reach all of them. And that's our goal, because we want every child, no matter where you are, no matter where you live, no matter what your background is, no matter if you live in the mountains or on the beach or somewhere in between, we want you to have this opportunity to get out and experience our federal lands and waters.
Right. And I don't think it's just federal lands and waters either. I think I was in one of our county parks the other day with my daughter, and they had an EKIP sign right there saying, hey, this is how our local county park is participating in.
Many county parks are participating, many state parks now accept the pass and will give free admission to fourth graders and their families. We have lots of different partners at all different levels working.
Right. And so, it seems like Oak is right there with you. Go into an REI, they have information about EKIP and Oak and how you are partnering with every opportunity. And so are there any other specifics that Oak's doing with EKIP to continue that throughout the next future years? Yeah, sure.
So we're working with the agencies on plans for the next 5 years. We're very committed to making sure that Every Kid in a Park lives beyond this administration. We'll be around, and so we hope this initiative and many other youth initiatives will be around. Our members have been really inspired by this call to action from President Obama. We haven't seen parks in this level, years, parks in many, many years, or if ever. And so we have been organizing events. Some of our members have been raising money and putting out money to make this for the transportation grants. We have been using our networks to get the word out about it. Some of our members have been training teachers and outdoor leaders. I can give an example from the Sierra Club working in a coalition. We've been working in a coalition with several Oak members, but part of the San Gabriel Mountains Forever Coalition outside of Los Angeles to protect the San Gabriel Mountains for 10 years. And President Obama established it and is working in. And now the coalition is working on how do we make sure that the fourth graders who actually live here in the San Gabriel Valley have this opportunity to climb the mountain. And so this has really been invigorating for the Sierra Club and for all of our Oak members. So we're excited to keep pushing and keep raising the visibility of the program and activating our members to make it a success.
Nice. So, John, get into your Sanctuary Day real quick.
Sure.
We gotta put it out there. It is Ocean Month.
Absolutely.
So every kid needs to get into your sanctuary as well as parks, as well as, but every place else. But can you tell us a smidge about get into your sanctuary real quick?
Sure. So get into your Sanctuary Days, June 25th and June 26th, coming up towards the end of this month. There's going to be lots of opportunities to participate in educational and other activities at National Marine Sanctuaries across the system, from Thunder Bay National Marine Sanctuary in Alpena, Michigan, to Channel Islands, to Olympic Coast in the Pacific Northwest and the Florida Keys and all over. So I guess I would just encourage everybody to find out where your closest National Marine Sanctuary is, and get them on the phone and find out what kind of activities you have, what kind of activities we have, because we just want to get as many people into the sanctuaries as we possibly can this coming June 25th, June 26th.
And then share your images with us.
Absolutely.
Of recreating in our national. So get into your Sanctuary Day. So
can we just say that anyone who wants more information can go to everykidinapark.gov?
Yes.
And there's lots of
find out how you can. Find out how you can get your pass to go to one of these wonderful places at everykidinapark.org and make it happen. I'm taking my son this summer.
Good.
Yep.
Very
so
I have a first grader, so we need this to survive at
right.
least another few years.
Exactly.
I had a fourth grader when we started planning this whole thing. I had a fourth grader when we started this plan, and I was really excited, and he went into fifth grade, and so I lost that opportunity, but that's okay. We can still get him out.
You can still take them.
I can still take him. I just got to pay.
the first grader can
right.
That's right.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today to talk about
Kate.
this wonderful initiative. And we got to keep working on educate and inspire the hooked on the outdoors, and to educate and inspire the next generation of environmental stewards. You can learn more about Every Kid in a Park initiative at everykidinapark.gov, and about Oak at allianceforkids.org. I also want to extend a special thank you to our presenting sponsors for today: the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the U.S. Department of the Interior, and the Walton Family Foundation. Chow, the Bank, the co-hosts of Chow, the Campbell Foundation, and the Gordon and Betty Moore Foundation, and all of the rest of our sponsors, because without their support, the success and accessibility of Chow would not be possible. We're back to Chow at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the conclusion of Day 1 with a panel on the power of diversity to strengthen the ocean movement. Then tonight, we'll don our finest for the Oceans Award the Ocean Prom, presented by the National Marine Sanctuary Foundation. And we will be honoring Senator Maria Cantwell with the 2016 Leadership Award, Explorer NOAA Thompson with the Lifetime Achievement Award, and Captain Scott Hickman with the National Marine Sanctuary's Volunteer of the Year Award. Follow the action on Twitter with the hashtag OceanProm Gala tomorrow for a recap of the gala tomorrow morning on Capitol Hill Ocean Talk. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow on oceanslive.org for the second day of Capitol Hill Ocean Week.